Okay, welcome back. Solo roll Mangging. Tales of Argosa with Grimsgate, leading into the lost city of Barakus eventually, if we survive. So far, we are surviving. We arrived at Grimsgate Village, poked around, talked around, met some people, bought some stuff, and then decided to go deal with the problem at the ford nearby. There's some issue there, and it turned out to be a big ogre eating people, and we killed it. Really handily, actually. It's pretty good. Yes, that was all good. We went back to town, had a meal, got some shut-eye. It's all good. We're ready to set out today then, for the somewhat lengthy journey to the Elder Temple. So we don't rent a room for tonight or anything. It'd be nice if we make it back, but I really don't think that'll be the case. Tonight, I mean, I hope we make it back eventually. Yeah, so that's what's gonna happen. We're pretty much full up. Both of our guys are down a luck due to that falling tree. And Suzura is missing a magic spell cast. Oh, why did I do sense magic? Whoops. Yeah, so she actually has no spell cast right now. You do not get that back overnight. Yeah. And I was looking at it was funny that I talked about, you know, that we changed this to be a temple of tier because I figured, you know, we'll just play in the Forgotten Realms and blah blah blah. And it was funny because I mentioned like, oh yeah, you know, the Forgotten Realms I'm familiar with. It's easy. I can always just mention Paylor or something. I actually looked up Paylor. That's not a current deity in like 5e or anything. Paylor was used in 4th edition, which is what I started with, which is probably why I'm familiar with it. Paylor was like the main deity of 4th edition. Like the main good deity. So I guess I don't really know anything. I know some of the 5e. I mean, I played Baldur's Gate 3. And I played Baldur's Gate 2, although I think the deities are not quite the same, but like Lathander and shit like that, and Joaquin. Anyways, let us set out now from Grimgate Village. So yeah, we're you know, we're not gonna just. Our directions are to go to the ford and then follow it all the way south, and we'll see it. We're not gonna try to go out into the wilderness because that's how you end up in trouble. Who knows what we might bump into on the way out there. So we'll keep it safe, keep to the river. Neither one of our guys is really good with wilderness lore. Xander has it, but he has a 6 intelligence. Suzura doesn't have it, but she has a 16 intelligence. You don't have to have wilderness lore to be a guide. Pretty sure. Yeah, you don't have to have it, but she has disadvantage on all intelligence-related checks, which I continue to think is just really mean and harsh. And I don't really support, but I'm also not sure how I would just fix it. Honestly, I could see for her, if I went to the DM and said, hey, I want to play an intelligent half-orc, would it be okay if we just ignore the disadvantage and ignore the advantage? You know, and all she really has is just like, she gets a +2 bonus on death saves, and that's it. You know, and just like, whatever. Like, it's not really advantageous really to play a half-orc in that case compared to just being a human. But I think that's the fairest way to do it. And to be honest, probably I would forget about the advantage anyways most of the time. So, especially because she's not going to do much related to his strength. She's not a usual half-orc. So I think that's how we'll play it. Just because it seems really harsh to just like, you are genetically dumb. You are always going to be dumb. There will never be an intelligent half-orc to ever live as far as as long as I'm alive. All half-orcs are idiots. It's just weirdly racist. So, yeah, that's how I'm going to run it. We're just going to skip out on the disadvantage and advantage. So she could actually be a pretty good guide then. She can't reroll or anything, but she could guide us maybe straight through. But again, we don't really know where it is other than it's somewhere to the southeast, based on the logic of going east to the ford and going south along the river. So we could try it that way. It would cut down some time, but it is a little bit riskier. But that would be, let's see, that would be 2 miles to get to the river at this point. And then if we follow the river, then you're talking about another couple miles. So honestly, we could maybe get there in, well, we have to cut down on travel time due to going straight through the forest. Yeah, that's true. So it would be at a 66% speed, which means that, well, we can travel 8 miles. We can travel 1 mile per hour. Yes, through a forest. Okay. Fuck it, we'll give it a try. We'll be confident. We're taking the slightly riskier path. So we're doing... I mean, it's not like we're in like a hellscape plain. I mean, this is just sort of a forest in the Borderlands. It's not absurdly crazy. So we'll just do one check to get there as far as random encounters. And we'll have to do... So Xander's on lookout. Sazura's on guide duty. She's going to roll int just straight up. She failed. Fuck. The odds of that were pretty slim, I gotta say. That was 20% chance of failure. Damn. Alright. Fuck it, we'll use a reroll. I'm not happy about it, but fine. Just gonna reroll. Great success. Great success on guiding is really good. Because that means we cut down the time in half, I think, or it's something like that. You make excellent time, may spend the equivalent of 1 bonus watch this day. Yeah, it's a little vague of what exactly that means. It's 2 watches to move into a 6-mile hex containing forest. This is a total of 4 miles. We don't use the hexploration rules of this, of travel speed and everything from Tales of Argosa. So usually I interpret that as just you have like you're 50% faster. That's usually how I interpret. So rather than taking, let's see, what did I say, 4 hours? We can travel 1 mile per hour, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. We'll do it in 2 hours. She's in her element, I guess. Or maybe it's just a pleasant day and we have good vision and, yeah, I don't know, hard to say. All right, so yeah, we'll get there in 2 hours, which is pretty great. And now we're going to roll a random encounter check. It's a forest, so I'm going to say 1 or a 2. Okay, pleasant day. No problems. And we make it to the Elder Temple. This music is quite repetitive, I will be honest. I tried something different than our usual thing. But yeah, it seems fairly... I mean, this is AI music. It's all AI music. That's all I do. Just because there's no copyright, and there's no fuss, and it almost never has any vocals. But usually I use this absolutely chill music, which is a little kind of modern feeling. But it's not super repetitive, so it's just, yeah. I mean, I don't think about the music too much unless I hear vocals or something. Alright, the Elder Temple. Check for wandering monsters once every 3 turns, and there's only a 1 in 10 chance of encountering a wandering monster. Wow. We could easily go through this whole dungeon without ever finding one then. A result of special means that the monster is determined by which set of caves the characters are in. Each cave entrance has its special monster included at the front of the entrance description. I'm not quite sure what that means. I guess we'll cross that hurdle if we come to it. I don't know. Well, it says a result of special. There is no special result here. So I don't know what that means. Alright, anyways, here's the map. So we are over here, approaching from the southeast. Kind of this open plain area. Looks like it's built on like a series of hills. A rocky hill rises steeply beside the trail. A few massive blocks of dark stone at the crown make it clear that this is the site of the Elder Temple. No buildings remain, although several blocks of masonry are scattered here and there on the hillside as if they had been tossed around by an unthinkably powerful force. 2 small groves of trees have taken hold near the bottom of the slope, and you can see 3 cave entrances into the hill itself. The lower 2 entrances are doorways crafted from carved stone. The highest entrance, near the top of the hill, is quite different. It is very large, wide enough for several people to enter side by side, and it is closed by what appears to be a metal door. Okay. So... right. The lower 2 entrances. Three cave entrances into the hill itself. Okay, so I assume then we can see this entrance from here where we are. We can, you know, visibility's good. It's not that many trees, so I guess we can see... I guess we can see the guards entrance over there. We can also see the servants' quarter tunnel entrance. And then further up, we see... I don't know, what door is that? A metal door. Oh, the main temple entrance at 11. Okay. Well, hard to say, you know. Cave entrances are probably what we want to poke into rather than climbing up the hill to go to the main entrance. Assuming we can't even get in because the doors are closed. So, let's just roll a d2. 1 is the servant quarters. Okay, we're going to go in just through the entrance right in front of us. This cave entrance is built of plain, undecorated stones. Light from the outside shines just far enough into the hallway to show that the entrance passageway makes a T-junction after 20 feet or so, with passages leading to the left and right. Where the passageway ends, you can see that a face is carved into the stone, but you can't see any more details without entering the tunnel. Okay, well, we're gonna go in, and we're probably gonna light a torch, I imagine. Alright, yeah. So we will light our first torch. That says consumable. But then I would thought clicking that might consume it and this number would go down, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So, I don't know. Unless I'm just doing something wrong with how it works. But you'd think that would be... Oh, there it is. Okay, so I had to mark it as gear. Good, thank you. Alright, torch. 6 on the clock. We enter in. The entrance from the outside leads to an area that is a landing halfway down a broad staircase. The steps go up to the left and down to the right. In front of you on the wall of the landing is a bas-relief carving in the wall, the face of a bearded man. Okay. And it says to make sure your party's carrying light sources and that they have established a marching order. In this entrance, for example, marching order is important because it may determine which character falls into the pit trap at location T5. Alright, so we can go up or we can go down. There's the face. I'm sure some players would be like, okay, can I roll like Divine Lore? Do I know who this face is? In which case, I would say Xander automatically succeeds and knows that this is Tyr, we are saying. It doesn't say that, but I assume it's likely meant to be a deity, and we picked Tyr as our deity, so that seems to work for me. Alright, so we're going to go up or down. Let's roll, yeah, let's roll a D2. Left, up is 1. Okay, we're going down. Well, then we're hitting this pit trap. Read the following description only if the characters specifically state that they are checking the ceiling as they go down the steps. Now, yeah, solo gets a little bit tricky. But Tales of Argosa also, usually we just adjudicate that to like perception checks or group perception checks. So we'll go ahead and make it a group perception check. Yeah, making players be that anal about, I'm looking at the ceiling. Hey, DM, I'm looking at the ceiling as we go. I'm looking at the floor as we go. And like, just fuck it. Like, make it dice rolls and assume your characters are kind of always looking around. Alright, so Xander fails. Unless she gets a 1 or a 2, we have failed. She got a 5. She got a success. Well, yeah, I think I said that we were going to do individual checks, right? Because otherwise we'll almost never succeed on a group check with 2 characters. We either both have to succeed or one has to get a great success. So, fuck it, I'll be more lenient then, just because our perception's terrible. We're going to fail everything. So, remarkably, Zura happens to notice this, perhaps because she's kind of in awe of being in her first quotation mark dungeon. So she's looking at the ceiling, and she sees that her light illuminates a dark spot on the ceiling about the size of a large coin. Okay, well, that's odd. I would say it's unusual. So it almost looks like a slight recession in the ceiling. Problem, I would say, is I don't really have much I can do with that. Oh, she does have a staff. Do we have a description of how long a staff typically is? 4 to 6 feet long. Alright, we'll say 5 feet. Xander is 6 foot. I mean, he's a strapping young man, so he has 11-foot reach with the staff. That's probably good enough, I would say, for him to sort of try and push the button. Would we think to do that? I'll have her roll an intelligence. Great success. Yes, she wants him to use the staff to push the button. And he does. Now it says that the dark spot is a recessed button in the ceiling that locks the pit trap in place, so the trapdoor does not swing open when weight is placed on it. It raises a couple questions, I suppose. Well, really one question. Do you have to hold the button to prevent it from triggering? Or is it on like a timer? It will be easy to tell. I mean, as soon as he removes the staff, it'll either go back to where it was or not. So, do you have to hold the button? No, you don't. Okay, so he presses the button, it presses in, and nothing happens. And so we're just like, you know, he's like, we kind of are like flinching a little, like we're sort of braced for something to happen as he pushes it, but nothing happens. So we keep going. Yeah, and we just step over the pit trap as if nothing's the problem. And we keep going to room number 9. I'll take down the torch once. Also, yeah, every 3 turns. My turns are pretty fast and loose. I don't do it, like I said, every single room. I probably should, maybe. You know, like 1, 2, 3. They've already done 30 minutes or something, but that's way too slow. So yeah, I'm a little faster and looser, but that was 1 turn. We head into room 9. This room is empty. Nothing of interest to the characters is in this room. Brilliant. I have to spend the requisite 10 minutes, though, to search it, so there you have it. And then we're going to go to the door. We're not super good at listening, but Xander's, at Caesura's behest, is going to try to listen. He does have detection, so... Alright. Yeah, he doesn't really hear anything. I don't know. Now, not necessarily. Not everything should be the result of a perception roll. If there is something in there, if there are creatures in there, like talking or something, you will hear that. I mean, there's not a roll or anything. There are 3 cannibal mole men. Would they be conversing? I'm going to have him just roll a straight luck to see if he catches them in a moment where they are conversing then, which I should have rolled instead of the perception. But if he had succeeded on the perception, then he would have heard something. Maybe not speech, maybe just heard shifting around or something, whatever. But I'm just going to have him roll a straight up oracle. Okay, so he does happen to catch like a murmuring or something. There is something living in there that seems to be conversing. Now, we know that something bad has happened here. Like, there's no word of back in the major town from this place, which there should be. So something bad has happened here. We might surmise that it's... Maybe there's some priests in here hiding out or, you know, something like that. So I don't know if we'd really just charge in with our swords swinging and, you know, slash something's head off. But we'd also probably like to be a little stealthy. So Xander's going to attempt to sort of stealth forward. He's got decent dex, but he doesn't have the stealth skill, and he has chainmail, so he has -2. So, not amazing odds, but better than 50-50. Great success. Okay, now technically it's going to be up against their perception roll. These are cannibal mole men. Your guess is as good as mine, to be honest. I see that they have... Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to just spitball, I suppose. What the fuck is a cannibal mole man? I'll give him 11. Perception. They in the dark? I'm not really sure. Oh, they have a vulnerability to bright light. But he's not in bright light, which means that they are in the dark. They have dark vision out to 60 feet. So yes, they're just sort of shuffling around. That's a pretty big clue already, that there's things like moving in the darkness. That would not be some priest, you know, human priest. So that gives them no penalty on like perception for being in the dark or anything. But we'll give them 12. I'm going to roll 12 for their perception. Okay, they succeeded by 6. He succeeded by 7. So he does barely just sort of slink forward around the corner. He can't really see anything, though. But he can hear, like, some more murmuring. And I don't know if they're speaking common or not. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know the history of the cannibal mole men. I'd have to decide that, I suppose, if I was DMing. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if it was... I guess this is what they look like. Let's say that they're not speaking common. They're speaking some guttural kind of language that he has no idea of. And it just doesn't sound... They don't sound pleasant. They're moving around in the dark. So, yeah. Operation Kill. It's going to be tricky to surprise them. I'm going to be honest, because we're going to have to be charging in with the torch. They're going to see that coming pretty far away because they don't like torches. So I don't think there's going to be a surprise. I think we're just going to run in and get the initiative. So he sort of slinks back and he informs Azura of something in there. It's intelligent, sort of, but it's in the dark. It's got to be evil. We're going to cleanse it, so get ready. She's not really ready, but we're going to charge in. All right, here we go. This room was evidently used for storage at some time in the past, for there are several large alcoves in the room. Each one is large enough for a person to stand in and is carved with stone shelves. You have only a moment to notice the room's details, though, for several mole men in the room are moving to attack. Their leader is a big fat brute of a mole man covered with scars and standing over 6 feet tall. An old-looking cannibal mole man with tattoos all over his skin and a bone through its nose is in the back. This doesn't sound good. So the big mole man is the war leader, Gobura Scar. The one with the bone through its nose is Jilagura the Demon Speaker, a servant of Arumvel the Wicked. Jilagura has a smear of ash on his forehead, like the mains demons of Arumvel's court, but this is ordinary ash, not ashes from Vuad the Putrefactor. Great. Great comfort to me. Let's roll initiative, shall we? Success. Alright. I guess Xander's gonna set his sights on the big one. Gobura Scar. This is not going to be an easy fight. We have no magic, and it's going to largely depend on probably a major exploit of some kind. Yeah. All right. Xander is going to pop Adaptable for Charger to hopefully, make the big guy go prone, and so he doesn't get penalty. Penalty. So he's going to roll Long-Bearded Axe, and he's going to roll with +2 overall. Advantage on damage. Excellent. That is a 22. That is a big, juicy hit. 10 damage. This thing only has 13 hit points. Oh, 12, actually. I see them. I always try to calculate before seeing if they actually supply hit points. Right, so it's got 12 hit points. So he drops him down to 2, which is a hell of a blow. You slash right across his chest. Thank God for advantage on damage. He is then going to trigger... So this thing... Target must make a luck strength save or be knocked prone. I would figure this guy's strength is pretty solid, right? He's a 6-foot-tall, muscular... brute of a mole man. Maybe even 15 strength, really. We'll give him a +2. But his luck score is still fairly abysmal because he only has 3 hit dice. So it's 6, so 8 total. If he rolls 8 or under, he is not prone. He is very much prone. So we knock him on his ass. Great. Then, I think we're going to go ahead and have Xander try to cleave. Oh, so there's actually 5 mole men. Oh, I didn't... this is the main group of 3 cannibal mole men who inhabit the servants' quarters. Plus the big one, plus... That's a lot of mole men. We're gonna have to cut that down. That's too difficult, I think. I mean, not necessarily. They're in the bright light, so they do have -2 to hit and saves across all of them. All right, fuck it. So he's gonna try to cleave this one with the tattoos and the bone through his nose, which looks like some sort of shaman. So it's just gonna be straight up luck strength. Success. Excellent. Another hit to his luck, but he gets to roll damage for that as well. And that's damage with advantage. So D8 plus 2. All right, 9 damage to the demon speaker. That means he has 1 hit point left. Close. Damn close, but I would have had to have rolled max damage. Okay. Now Caesura gets to go. I would love to have Desiccate here, but she doesn't. So she'll leap in and try to finish off the guy on the ground. The big guy. So she is going to get a +2 to her roll. I'm pretty sure is what prone is. Yep, +2. We also could get the benefit of outnumbering him, I suppose. But not... I don't know. I won't give that. It's a little too nebulous. I don't think it's that big of a room. And I think we're all somewhat close by one another. So I'm not going to give that. It's just going to be a +2. She is not using it in 2 hands. Okay, yeah, good D6, yeah. That is enough. Yes. She slashes across his neck, and he dies. Which is probably going to trigger a morale roll, because he is the leader. And for us to just burst in, slaughter their giant brute leader, and nearly kill the demon speaker. I think that's going to be a group morale check. No, I'm going to do it 2 ways. I'm going to do an individual one for the demon speaker, and then a group one for the 3 mole men. Because I imagine he's got a higher morale, or a higher will. So we're going to go 10 will for the regular 3, and then 13 for the demon speaker. Demon speaker rolls. He succeeds. The 3 cannibals succeed. They are enraged more than fearful. So, yes, they are going to attack. Okay. This could be pretty bad. The demon speaker knows hold person, which I think in Axe is just called halt humanoid. And we use, Axe spells, which means that it could affect both of us. It's 1d4. And if we both fail this, we are fucked. Even if one of us fails this, we're paralyzed, so we're, helpless. Insta-kills. That's a really dangerous spell for him to have. There's not much for it. And Caesura doesn't have a reroll, and she doesn't have great... What do I want to make that? I feel like we've done this. I think we've done con before. I don't know if that's right. I'm gonna go to D&D 5e, hold human, or hold person. Sorry. Just want to see what... They make it wisdom. Okay, wisdom. I'm not crazy about that, because his will's not good, but he does have rerolls. So sure. He might fail the spellcasting check. It's possible. This is going to be... Are we making him an arcane spellcaster? No, he's like a shaman. No, he's divine, and I already put his will at 13, so that's what he's rolling against. He'll know divine lore, so he'll have 14. He fails. Okay, so he tries to cast a spell, but maybe because he's bleeding out of his chest, he fails and it sputters. Thank God. the 3 mole men are going to try to kill, well, both of us, really. We'll have 2 on Xander, 1 on Caesura. You could argue that they'd all go on Caesura because she has the light, but as always, I could say you could argue the opposite. They want to stay away from the light. I don't know. Usually when I'm DMing, I tend to pick on the armored targets just because I'm a nice DM. Those people that play the big armored tank people want to be targeted. So I oblige them. If it gets to the point where they start getting like 23 AC or something and it's like impossible to hit them, then creatures might recognize that and be like, fuck that, I'm eating this little unarmored mage over here. So that can backfire a little bit, but anyways. All right, 2 targets. They have 2 hit dice, so that's +2, but they're in bright light, so -2, so it's just straight up. But they do get 2 attacks each. So 4 rolls against Xander at +0. No, they outnumber him. So they get +1. Miss, crit, miss, miss. So one of them crit. That's 4 damage. It's not much, but, you know, it's something. Next is the 2 attacks on Caesura. So that's also going to be a +1, much more likely to hit. One of them fumbled. She will take advantage of it and swing. Oh no, she wasn't outnumbered. Doesn't matter. She got a natural 19 effect. So she did 2 damage plus a severed leg. Oh my god. Roll a d6. So it's his foot. She like swung low for some reason in a panic, and she severed his fucking foot. He has to make a luck con save, which is basically like he has to roll a 3 or a 4 or something. That's not good enough. No way. 2 hit dice. Oh, I guess it is a 5. All right, fine. He can keep it. So basically, she like severs his Achilles tendon and just like nearly lops it off. It's non-functional for 8 weeks, assuming he gets treatment and good rest, which he won't. He's about to die. So his move speed is halved, requires a crutch or peg-legged walk, suffers disadvantage on mobility-related checks. It's not super amazing or anything, but yeah, it's pretty telling. 2 damage seems really fucking light for that, right? Like, DCC would add a good amount of damage for severing his Achilles tendon. Which I think is part of the problem. Especially, like, if I lopped his foot off. That seems more than 2 damage. Yeah, it's a slightly weird system. I like the idea of natural 19 effects. I think that's fun, but yeah, a lot of the time it just doesn't make much sense. Right. That is the round. We're going to roll new initiative. Now it's Xander's turn. He failed, of course. The one that got his foot nearly severed off is going to roll another morale check. Again, they have about a 10 will. Okay, he fails. So he's like hobbling, crawling out of there, screaming in pain. Which I would argue is going to trigger another morale check for the other 3. This is not going well for them at all. And the spellcaster also didn't even cast a spell, so they're really... He's probably screaming for the shaman to heal him and blah, blah, blah. So the shaman is going to roll again versus 13. He's still persistent now. He's upset. The other 2 very much failed. So we actually... they're going to mostly flee, but not the spellcaster. He's maybe a little blinded by rage here. Caesura does get an op on the one fleeing from her. 7 damage, so that's 9. I think he's dead. Well, one of them has 12, one of them has 11, and one of them has 4. That's really kind of an odd thing. Again, usually I go by averages unless they state a number. So we'll say that was the 4 one, and she actually like chops his head off as he's screaming in pain. Xander gets an op on one of the 2. That is a miss. So they're a little too quick for him. Okay, and now the demon speaker. He only had one hold person, so now he's gonna try to cast cause light wounds on Xander. And we do have stats for that, of course. Cause light, cure light injury, the reverse. Yeah, a successful attack throw is required to touch the target, so it's gonna have to roll strength to just reach out. And although this says it can go 30 feet, I don't know why. And it does not permit a saving throw. It seems kind of OP. That seems to suggest it's just like fucking magic missile, but better. So I don't agree with that. We go by axe as always. So first, it's not an ideal way to do it, because first he has to succeed on the spell throw, which he does. He actually gets a great success, so it'll be increased by 50%. Which is not really ideal. Because you can't do 1.5 dice. And you can't really do 1.5 damage. So in this specific case, it doesn't actually get increased at all. There's nothing that will increase here. It's unfortunate, but hey, that's why you gotta get better spells. Cure moderate injury would do 3d6 healing or damage. It's alright, whatever. And then it has to succeed on a strength roll. It's weird that it's strength, but all melee attacks of any kind are strength in Tales of Argosa. Axe, just has attack throws. But I imagine, like, a mage's attack throw is not great. Yeah, I mean, 10 plus. So he would succeed. And that's modified by the AC. So really, it's pretty unlikely to actually land. So that's fitting. So really, yeah, I'm giving this guy, like, yeah, +0. He's a shaman. He wouldn't really do much physical labor or anything like that, I don't think. Unless all mole men just have enhanced strength because they live in the underground. I don't think so. So +0. He does get the bonus for being 2 hit dice, though. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. He gets the 2 hit. Yeah, because he could also use his claws, and he would have +2. So, +2 versus Xander. Miss. Okay, so this guy's really fucked now, because now he's stepped into melee. All of his companions have fled. He is boned. Xander will show him how boned he is. Boom. Decimated. Cleaved him in half. That is an encounter. Okay. So the other mole men, the 2 mole men fled somewhere into the darkness, which is not great. Oh, did they flee, or did they go past us? They must have gone past us, because unless they went through the secret door. Which is interesting that it doesn't even mention the secret door in the text here. That secret door leads to room number 15, which is a flooded room filled with leeches. I don't think they would go that way. I don't think they really even know about it, so they probably ran back the way we came. It sort of depends. I don't know where they come from. They inhabit the servants' quarter area of the Elder Temple. I don't think they really have. I think that's it for the mole men, honestly. There was their leader and their shaman, and that was kind of it. That was like their little family. Oh, there is 2 more in room number 30. And that's kind of about it. So, yeah, I mean, they don't really have somewhere, I think, to run to and be done with, so... But I don't know if they'll want to run out in the daylight, either. It's one of those things where a DM thinks about it, players don't think about it, and life goes on. They do have a burrowing speed, I think. Yeah, burrow 9. So maybe they rush outside and just start burrowing into the ground. And that's the last we see of those mole men. Alright. Short rest is warranted. We took damage, we spent resources. How could it not be a significant combat? Xander actually got double successes despite having only 8 will. I'm pleased to see that. No great successes, so he can't get luck back, but he is going to get an adaptable back, and he's going to get a little hit points back. Not much. Cesura should almost certainly get successes, yes. So she's going to get a reroll back and her spell back, which is awesome. Excellent. We do get XP for these things. This says that we get 30 for the regular guys and 60 for the big guy, but that's... I don't know. That could be accurate. That's 50 for the big guy and 20 for the smaller guys. But the shaman is a spellcaster, so probably we count that as an ability. I would imagine. Special abilities. Yeah, I will count it as just one extra thing, I suppose. I mean, I don't think there's a mole man in here that I could have looked at. No. So, I'm not really sure what the closest similar thing that I could look at. Because I don't know if, like, dark vision or something counts as an asterisk, as a special ability. It might. I don't think so. Like, a bear has acute olfaction, and that doesn't get an asterisk. No. So it's really like a special ability. So if they have acid attacks, if they have an aura, if they can go berserk, or they have a charge ability, breath weapons, class powers, immunities, resistances, enslavement, grab attack, invisibility, incorporeal, magic resistance, paralysis, regen, spell casting. Yep, okay. So it is spell casting or spell-like abilities does give asterisks. So that would be 50 for the big guy. Well, I already assumed. It was more just like if they can see in the dark, and I don't know if I saw that anywhere. I don't think so. No. Alright, so 50 for the big guy, 29 for the spellcaster, and 20 for the little guy we killed. Okay. But we're then going to search the room, of course. Torch ticks down. We find some definite goodies, especially on the corpses here. We find a necklace of gold nuggets worth 200. and a belt pouch with 12 gold and 23 silver. It's technically 14 XP. We'll go ahead and lump this necklace in with this slot. So that's worth 200 gold pieces. And Cesura will take the cash. 12 gold, 23 silver. Awesome. On the shaman, we find a shoulder bag made of cured human skin that contains a number of disgusting items used in his demonic rituals, and also a gem carved in the shape of a demon's head. Worth 500 gold. Okay, that's also going to be thrown in here. Demon head gem. 500. That's a massive haul for 2 characters. We definitely don't level up yet. We need a total of 4,000 on this list in order to level up. So we're not there yet. Not even really close, but that's a nice boost. We also, on the one that we killed, we find on a belt pouch 6 gold. Okay. And we find the secret door that's in this room. Secret door sounds very exciting. You know, it's like, wow, we're really we're in a dungeon. We're dungeon crawling. Our first secret door. So fuck it, let's go through. And we head towards room number 15. Steps lead down the corridor to a dark chamber. You can hear the sound of water dripping into a pool. The floor of this chamber is flooded with about 2 inches of water, although at first glance the characters will not be able to tell that it is so shallow. The water drips from the ceiling. Anyone walking through the water has 1d3 -1 leeches stick to their boots before reaching the other side. The leeches are not dangerous, although they might suggest to novice players that water in dungeons can pose unexpected dangers. Alright, I mean, it's like, this is almost sort of like a tutorial module in a lot of ways. And it even has like little sort of info for referees and stuff, things like that. I don't know if it was suggested to be like, this adventure is a good introduction to running the Swords and Wizardry adventure, even if you never plan on using a published adventure module again. Yeah. It is very much designed as an introductory thing. Cool. Okay. So we enter, and so we come down some steps, basically. We come down these steps, and right here, so there's water. Like, before we reach the bottom of the staircase, there's water. It's only 2 inches, but again, like, yeah, like it said, like, it's sort of hard to tell how deep it is, because there could be... We don't know that that's the bottom of the staircase, so this could be just like a 12-foot drop. So, don't be an idiot. Xander's gonna stick, like, the handle of his axe down into the water, and then we discover it's 2 inches deep. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'd really surmise or have reason to suspect that there's something lurking in a 2-inch deep pool of water in this room. We could throw something if there's like a rock nearby. Is there a rock nearby? No, okay, it's pretty clean in here. Just dust and cobwebs and stuff. Unless I want to throw like my whistle or something into the water, which I don't. I could throw an iron spike. Alright, it's prudent. It's a smart thing to do. So throw an iron spike. And it splashes into the water. It seems unlikely that there would be leeches that just sort of like are visible, but there must be quite a few. Walking through this short room, we're gonna get like a few leeches onto our boots no matter what. So let's roll a perception check. -2, and this will be an individual one. So we both have detection, so it's -1. -1. Terrible failure from Cesura. She can't see shit without her glasses. And Xander succeeds. Okay. So yes, he does see something moving slightly. Some like little black shape in the splash. He was watching pretty closely. He threw it. The problem with that, of course, is now it makes players really wary. They're like, oh shit, there's something in the water. Wow, what are we going to do? Whereas if we didn't see it, we'd just be like, okay, I guess we'll go and we'll be cautious. But that's the whole point, is it might suggest to novice players that water and dungeons can pose unexpected dangers. This is all stuff that you should be doing, you know? You should be wary of every pool of water in a fucking dungeon. It's possible we would think then that we don't want to go this way because it's filled with dangerous leeches, which isn't the worst plan of action. I don't know if I have really a good idea of how we'd avoid going into the water if we think that it's filled with like all these bloodthirsty leech creatures or something. If we wanted to take the time, I don't think the doors are going to be 2 inches thick, right? That seems quite thick. So if we rip the door off the hinges and put it on the water, water is going to get on top of it. But it would be probably a lot safer, assuming there was something dangerous in the water. But it would take time. I mean, it's going to at least take 10 minutes to rip that door off. And well, if we're just... Now, I would... Yeah, it would be 10 minutes. And honestly, I probably should have ticked down another 10 minutes as it is, but... This is also 10 feet squares, so from here to get to here is like 20 feet. It would require multiple doors unless we can, like, shift the door while we're on it, but that seems quite difficult. So it would require multiple doors. Alright, it's up to the Oracle. Will we just wade through the 2-inch thick deep water? No. Alright. We're deciding that we'd rather not risk it. There's something in the water and we don't like it. So we'll keep a note of this, but we're going to head back. So we're going to go back all the way through here, and we'll see if we notice if that button is still pressed or not. But before then, we're going to have to tick down the torch again, and I was supposed to roll a random encounter. Okay, 1 in 10, and it's almost never going to happen. Okay, so we get back here, and do we notice the button? We're going to have to roll again. We'll say this is going to be a slight bonus because we did push the button and notice that it didn't seem to do anything, so we might be curious if it's like still pushed in or something. So I'm gonna give a +2 to the roll here. Xander rolled a terrible failure. He's completely forgotten about the button. It's not in his mind at all, which means that he's not gonna notice the pit trap at all either. As for Cesura, also a terrible failure. Okay. So we've disregarded the button. Too much has happened. We're thinking about the water. We're thinking about the mole men we slaughtered. Completely oblivious. Since he rolled a crit fail, he's not going to have any chance to, like, dive out of the way of the pit trap. So he still is going to get a luck dex save to see if he latches on. Or, you know, like he holds on before he falls the 10-foot drop. But it's going to be at -2, so it's really not looking good for him. He's got to roll a 9 or better. Terrible failure. I hate to waste a reroll, but it's also quite painful for him to fall, so I will spend the reroll. Again, -2. Yeah, he's going down. There's just nothing we can do. Alright, it's not too bad. It's not filled with spikes or anything like that. It's literally just a 10-foot drop down into a pit. He's going to have to climb his way out, but he has athletics. It won't be a problem. So that's quite a shock. He takes just 1 damage. Just pretty nice, to be honest. Not too bad. But now, okay, so now we look up. Caesura looks up and sees that the button is not pressed anymore. So she's smart enough to put 2 and 2 together, that the button stops the pit trap from activating and it's on a timer or something. She's fascinated by it as Xander's dirty and climbing out of the pit. Okay. The way that it's laid out here, it seems like we could just go around it to go up the steps. Which, I know that this is the normal rules and stuff for this kind of game, but I think that's how I would justify that it says here it's a 4 in 6 chance to fall into the pit. So, like, 2 out of the 6, the characters are just kind of like hopping off the side of the staircase there instead of stepping here. If they weren't aware of the whole thing, you know? But alright, now we know it's there, so we can always just sidestep around it. Okay. We continue on, and we're going to go up the other set of stairs over here, and I'm going to tick the torch down again. And we go up to door number 6. Xander will try to listen. He succeeds if there's something in there. Nope, there isn't. So he's going to go in. When you open the door and peer into this room, you see 5 skeletons lying on the floor, each one of them surrounded by pieces of rotting wood and cloth. Now, anytime you see skeletons laying on the floor, you have to assume that they're going to immediately animate as soon as they kind of detect you. So I think Xander is going to charge in and smash his axe down on one of them before they even can get up, which he does. And then nothing happens. You know, bones go flying around the room and stuff, but none of the skeletons stand. He's going to smash them all just to be sure, and we're going to tick down the torch, so she's going to relight it. A new torch. Back to 6. And we'll say that the noise he is making does prompt a wandering monster check. We're fine. Again, we have to roll a 1 on that to get a wandering monster. Very generous, not a very dangerous location, apparently. The skeletons here are all normal skeletons, not animated. These were servants of the Elder Temple, who were enslaved by Armvel the Wicked. The pieces of rotting wood and cloth are all that remains of the beds and other simple furniture that was once in the room. If the characters dig through the bits and pieces, they find several rusted nails, but nothing of value. We do search every room, of course. That's always the rule, so we spend 10 minutes searching. And there's really nothing here. We won't take the rusted nails, so we'll move on to the next door, number 7. He'll roll perception. He succeeds. 7 is pantry, and there's nothing in there. So we go in. This room has several wooden shelves around the walls, but they are badly rotted and most have collapsed. The room was apparently looted at some time in the past, for there is nothing on the shelves and only some broken glass and pieces of pottery left on the floor. Rather ominously, a human skull sits in one corner of the room. That is ominous. I think some players would do something about that skull or back out of the room or something like that. I think Xander will throw his hand axe at it. Does he hit? 14? Sure, he hits a stationary skull. Smashes more bones. Alright, we'll search the room. As always. And it says that we find 2 gold, 4 copper, so we'll pocket the 2 gold. I won't even subtract the XP because I don't think that'll make much of a difference, but most people would. Searching takes a full turn. It has a 1 in 6 chance of alerting the cursed humans in location T8. I'm going to bump that up to 2 in 6 because he threw that hand axe. Okay, it doesn't matter. They are alerted. Would they wait in that room to ambush us, or would they come to us? Usually I say wait in ambush, but these are kind of... They're cursed humans halfway altered into cannibal mole men. Maybe that's what these things are. That could be true. So these things are really just foul creatures. So I think they're going to try to sneak up on us. Although they also hate bright light. That is a good argument. Alright, no, they're not going to ambush us because they don't like light. They're not really going to wait in ambush. There's not... Well, yeah, they could sort of wait in ambush. They're going to not make any noise, and they're going to be sitting in a dark room in this kitchen. Normally, it says they sit around the table eating what looks like raw rat meat. So they're not eating, and they're just kind of waiting to see what we do. So we have 0 chance of surprising them. They're going to see our torchlight and stuff under the door. They're looking for that and stuff. They might surprise us if we just walk into the room, but I might leave that to just like a 2 out of 6 dice roll or 3 out of 6, something like that. I don't know. It's possible, but I don't see them like being intelligent enough to like stand near the doorway and jump on us when we come in. I think they're literally just being alert. All right, so we're going to go to the next door. Door number 8. And torch ticks down. Wandering monster check. We're fine. Xander's going to listen. He really will only hear them like breathing on a great success, which he did. Okay. So we do hear some like light breathing coming. He's really got his ears tuned, and it's a very quiet place as always. So, but there are 6 of them. Yeah, 6 of them. So you can hear them kind of breathing. So he recognizes there's something on the other side of this door, and we can see there's no light coming under the door. So we surmise probably more mole men. We're not quite accurate in that, but it's close. Which brings up the question of what to do. I mean, you might think that they're sleeping or something like that. He doesn't know how many there are. I think we're just going to kick the door in and charge in, which is ultimately going to just be no surprise on either side. They're sort of ready for us. We're ready for them. That's it. So he kicks in the door, charges in, and we roll initiative. Success. Okay. The Zura then sees these 6 horrible creatures. She could launch a desiccate. 5-foot diameter sphere isn't amazing, but I think she can catch 2 of them, which is honestly not terrible. We could throw out slickness and hope they run into it and all fall down and we stab them and stuff like that, but I think desiccate to probably kill 2 of them is not a bad plan. So we're going to go for that. Success. Excellent. So we'll use Spellcraft. As a reminder, if you haven't been following all my Tales of Argosa stuff, but you're familiar with the system or you see this, it says Dark and Dangerous Magic. That is a mechanic from Tales of Argosa I completely ignore. Basically, every time you attempt to cast a spell or use a magical item or something like that, a check has to be made to determine whether a dark and dangerous magical effect occurs. So from level 1 to 3, you roll a d8. And if you roll a 1, you get a dark and dangerous magic effect. If it doesn't happen, that chance increases by 1 for each further attempt to use magic until a dark and dangerous magic effect occurs, and then it goes back to 1. So it keeps going on, and if you keep casting spells, eventually, of course, you're going to have this. I don't like it. I know other people don't really like it. I know some people do like it. It's really, up to the group. I like it if I'm playing Warhammer. I like it if I'm playing like that specific setting where magic is a very dark and dangerous thing, and magic is quite powerful, but it's quite dangerous, and I like leaning into that angle. In most fantasy games, though, high fantasy, stuff like that, I don't want anything to do with that. Because, like, it is possible that, like, you cast your first spell ever, level 1, you cast your first spell, you cast Slumber or something, and then suddenly a random enraged monster from the Veil appears within close range of you and wreaks havoc for 1d4 minutes. And it could be like a fucking infernal minotaur or a Yegnu or a specter. Like, it's just, yeah. Or like, you lose an arm and it becomes a tentacle for 1d6 days, or a doppelganger splits from you and wants to kill and replace you. I mean, it's all potentially interesting. Like I said, like if you're playing that kind of game, I just don't usually want to play that kind of game. And Axe obviously doesn't have any of that. So I have removed that entirely when I'm playing Tales of Argosa. But yeah, like I said, I think if you're going to play Warhammer Fantasy, that's an important part of that whole game and that whole setting and everything. So I'm on board with it there, but not most of the time. Like, look at it. Carrying iron causes you severe nausea, and touching it causes pain for 1d8 months. Crazy. Anyways, that, in case you see that dark and dangerous magic thing pop up and wonder why I ignore it. Alright, so she succeeds to cast Desiccate. So it's a 5-foot diameter sphere. So like I said, we're catching 2 of them. I think it's fair. And they each have to make a luck dex save or take 1d12 or half damage. So these guys are not super strong. They have 1 hit dice, so you're talking about 4. Maybe I give them a +1 dex, but these guys are pretty... They don't look very dexterous, to be honest. So, yeah, 4 or under. Wow, one of them actually does succeed. The roll for damage is 5. So one of them's taking 5, one of them's taking 2. What are their hit points? 8, 7, 6, 3, 3, 1. I think it's only fair if I just roll a d6 twice and we correspond to which ones I hit. 5, and 3. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of them has 3 hit points. One of them has 6 hit points. So neither one is going to die from this. Well, no, I suppose then it's a question of did I hit the 3 hit points with the 5 damage? Oracle roll says no, I did not. So I might have to keep track of this. 8, 7, 6, which is going to get hit with the 5, so it goes down to 1. 3, and the other 3 gets hit with, so 1, and then 1. So 3 of them have 1 hit point. Not her best spell casting. Could have gone a lot better than that. Was likely to go a lot better than that. But it is what it is. Xander charges in then, of course, and he is going to use... Yeah, he's just going to swing. I don't think we're doing any cleaving here. But he might do... Now, he's almost certainly going to kill anything, so minor exploits aren't really applicable. He's not actually going to charge. He's just going to... He's running in. Okay, 5 damage. Which one did he target? I don't know. We'll just roll a d6 again. 6, it was the 1 hit pointer at the end. The weakling of the group, Xander sets his sights on. Obliterated. All right. I think they're all going to surround and pounce on Xander and try to eat him. So that's going to be... They each have 2 attacks. So we're talking about 10 rolls here. This is why, again, I like to use digital rollers even at the table. So they're going to get +3 to the roll for these 10 rolls. So a 13 or higher is a hit on him, which is not pleasant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 1 crit, 2 hits. Yes. 1 crit, 2 hits. They do d4 damage each. So the 2d4 is 5 plus 4 is 9. He's down to 6. Ouch. They just are ravaging his body. This is especially bad because he's up next for initiative, and we don't have great odds for him succeeding. Yeah, he got a terrible failure, which means they're all going to repeat that exact same set. It is very possible he dies. There's not a damn thing that I can change about this, so maybe he should have cleaved. She can attempt a rescue if he does go down, but... Yeah. Alright. Same thing then. 10 rolls, 13 or higher is a hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Insane. 2 crits. 2 crits and 4 more hits. He is down. 100% down. I don't even know if I could rescue. I could try to just, like, pull him out of there. Which is not going to be easy for her. It is going to be strength related. She has to roll initiative first. She failed. She can't re-roll that, so he's down. That means that Suzura is facing off against 5 fucking things with her longsword and her 11 AC. Yeah, okay. She's not happy about it, but she's going to charge in with her longsword in a rage to try to butcher a few of these for killing her best bud. So she... Oh, wait a minute. They also have that vulnerability. It's only -1 to hits. I don't think that affects anything. No, I never rolled a 13. I rolled 14s or above. So that doesn't change much. Oh, wait a minute. That did affect their save. They should add -1 luck. Wouldn't have changed anything. No. He rolled a 2. Alright, never mind. I'm reaching here. I'm trying, but nothing. Okay, so she rushes in with the longsword, and she's gonna swing. Fuck it. She's gonna charge with the longsword for the +2. She's really hoping to just end this. Nope. She swinged abysmally and missed. But she has another chance for initiative. Great success. She swings the longsword again. Okay, 17 for 5 damage. Sort of depends which one she hits. I guess I'll roll... No, she'll target one of the weaker ones specifically, one of the injured ones. So she definitely gets a kill. She's going to try to cleave, and she's going to go for 2 more of them. So -2 on this roll. Success, she does. She swings for 1d6 + 1. 5 more damage to 2 more of them. She'll target the other weaklings. They both die. That's going to trigger a morale check now. I think they don't have great will because they're cursed, malformed humans. So we're going to put them at a 9 on the will. They fail. They're going to flee out of there. So she's going to op one of them because she's pissed. 5 more damage to one of them. Doesn't kill either of them, so they get away. Okay, that's the good news. She did manage to salvage the situation. The problem is we have to now roll his death saving throw. And we have no healing items. So really, he has to roll a 12 or under, or he's dead. And we have to make a new character for her to find. Yep. Alright. Here we go. We can use rerolls on this, though. Yeah, we're going to use a reroll. Oh, okay. Alright, so any healing takes 1d3 minutes. Make a roll on the injury and setback table, which is just a d20. There's really almost never any benefits or anything to it. Just straight d20. 13. That's not good. Disfigured. You suffer nasty permanent scarring to your head, neck, hands, or otherwise obvious spot. Generally a -2 penalty on social checks. GM's call. Alright, so yeah, he's got nasty claw marks all across his face. That's not great. I mean, we might be able to eventually heal that, possibly. We'll see. It could be a lot worse. I mean, he's yeah, especially for him, could have been a lot worse. Like if he had gotten broken ribs, we probably would have had to go back to town for the next 3d6 days. I don't know if there's a great sense of urgency in this module, so it wouldn't be that bad. Maybe that would have been better, because then it would have just been gone and done. This is a permanent thing unless he can get magical healing. I think restore life and limb. Oh no, repair, disfigurement, and disability. That would exactly be it. Restore life and limb. Yeah, it does restore permanent wounds and stuff like that, but that's part of the resurrection, so it's mostly for resurrecting. Remember, the priest in town does have that spell. He does have Raise Dead as a scroll, so he can do that if Xander were to actually die, which is what we would have done. But no, we need specifically repair, disfigurement, and disability. So, we'll probably pay for that once we get back to the big town after this adventure is over. Because that's a 4th level spell. The big town is what, like, yeah, I mean, they have it. So it costs 185 gold. We'll definitely be able to afford that. So we'll get him patched up. He'll just have this disfigurement for this adventure. Okay. Geez. It's not good, though, because I don't know if he gets a short rest. I've gone sort of back and forth on whether I should allow it or not. But basically, yeah, he gets back up with 1 hit point. She can short rest, though, while he's recovering. So she's going to get back her spellcraft. And she didn't get a great success, which would give her a luck back. She really has nothing else to recover, unfortunately. I don't know, actually. Let me just flip over and check the Discord real quick. I don't know if they'll... It's one of those sort of tricky searches. This person has an interesting, merciful rule for a more casual game. Every short rest, each person gets one automatic recovery, and then they just have to roll for a second one. And it's definitely a more casual way to play in a game that's already fairly casual, but it can feel really bad when you're beat up and you fail both rolls. But the point of that is that will is never a dump stat for almost anybody. But the funny thing is there are no dump stats, really. In the sense of you can't dump a stat. It's a 3d6 down the line roll. But, you know, based on, like, swapping or bumping things, like, yeah, I mean, there are meaningful decisions to be made. Or if you use axe generation, like I might, you know, then you have a bit more choice. I don't know. It's really hard to say. I mean, it's technically after a significant encounter. I kind of lean towards allowing it. But I feel like I probably have to, like, actually ask in this Discord for a specific use case like that. I mean, he still has to make his will checks and everything, and he doesn't have very good will. He might get nothing out of it. Usually what happens if I don't allow it is they immediately, like, end the adventure and they go back to town and they do a long rest. Because 1 hit points is just, like, you're not going to adventure with that. So I'm going to allow it just to not slow games down, and I'm going to try to remember that in the future when I'm DMing. So yeah, we're going to let him short rest. Alright, he failed both. He has no rerolls. He has 1 hit point. I think we are going to head back. Case in point, right? Yeah, so we're going to... He's going to lean on Caesura, and they're just going to depart and go back out the way they came. It's not too far, but that'll tick down the rest of the torch. We'll do 1 last random monster check just for shits and giggles. Of course! Of fucking course, baby! Let's do it. Alright, so now we're gonna roll another 1d10. Determine what we see. 1d3 giant centipedes. Okay. That is probably one of the better options we could have gotten. Piranha monsters, so I could roll a reaction roll. But I know a lot of people don't actually roll reaction rolls for, like, animals or insects or something like that. It's there because it wants to eat you. It doesn't think about much else beyond that. Its presence here is not just like, hey, how you doing? I'm just moving by. Like, that's pretty lame encounter. Most parties are not just going to be like, okay, there goes the giant centipedes, and they wave at them as they walk by. The whole point for something like this is that it's looking for food, and it's going to attack you. As unlikely as that might be, as unlikely as it might be for 2 giant rats to be like, yeah, this seems like a good meal, I'm going to attack you. I could see why most people don't roll reaction rolls for this shit. I think in the wilderness, for that sort of stuff, though, I think reaction rolls might make a lot more sense, and I especially like doing the activity die. But yeah, I think for in a dungeon, you roll giant centipedes, it's pretty much a giant centipede encounter. You could do some other business with it, especially like if you want to combine a couple wandering monster checks, so that, there's like a mole man being eaten by giant centipedes, or, you could do some stuff like that if you want to spice it up. But No, we're gonna roll 1d3 giant centipedes that are coming out of the walls and want, they smell Xander's blood. Of course we got 3, why wouldn't we? Alright, so we hear them skittering. They're coming. We roll initiative. Caesura has to try to fend these off. I mean, Xander, I mean, he's not helpless. He can participate. She might desiccate. I think reasonable to argue that I could grab 2, maybe 3. I might roll a d3 just to see how many she grits, which could be 1 if they're coming out of different walls or something, but she might be able to get all 3. Yeah, fuck it. He's at 1. She's desperate. She's gonna spend the spell and roll desiccate. She failed. She will re-roll that. Jesus. She failed twice? What? Again, that's a fucking 15% chance. What the fuck? Oh, also, for Dark and Dangerous Magic, if you roll a 20, you do have to roll in the Dark and... I kept that in. If you roll a fumble, crit fail, you do have to roll. Which possibly has happened at some point, and I ignored it. But that is what it's meant to be. Okay, well that's especially bad. Alright, Xander's gonna charge in then, and swing his axe, and he'll probably try to cleave the other 2 while he's here. He fumbled. He does not have expert guard, so his centipede gets immediate counterattack. It's non-lethal poison. (1d4 rounds, crippling pain, limb useless for 2d4 days. Leg. If your leg is your movement is halved, arm, you cannot hold a shield, weapon attacks with a -4 penalty. Alright, well, we'll cross that if we get to it. So they're going to attack him. Basically, he's going to get bit like 4 times here. They have +1 to the... Honestly, they have 1d2 hit points, so +0 to the roll. But they do outnumber him, so they get +2. 1, 2, 3, 4. He got crit. In this case, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I could apply a penalty of some kind, but will be nice. So it's going to be a luck con check, and he gets +4 because it's a pretty mild poison. This is an oracle roll. I'm just making a blanket rule. I think maybe I already talked about this. Just blanket rule that no enemy attack is going to cost you luck. I'm just making a blanket rule on it because he could easily just lose like 5 luck right here in this fight. Like if he's lucky on his rolls, and I use lucky in quotation marks, he could lose 5 luck here, and that would basically be like, boss, this is the end of the adventure. You know, like, give me my luck back. So it's just, yeah, I'm not doing it. Luck will be deducted from traps, major exploits, and spell casting, or spell-like abilities I'll even allow, but not poisons or something like that. All right, so that's it. He failed. He has no reroll, so he does succumb to this poison. So he has 1d4 rounds of crippling pain. I don't know if there's a mechanical benefit of that. Yeah, I don't know if there's a mechanical aspect of that. And then the limb is going to be useless for 2d4 days. So we're probably taking a long rest after this. Actually, we're 100% taking a long rest. We just have to get there. And if his leg... If one of his legs is affected, it's going to be a lot trickier to get home tonight. But depending on which arm is affected, we'll see. So I'm going to roll a d4. 1 is left arm, 2 is right arm, 3 is left leg, 4 is right leg. Okay, it's his left arm. So it's his non-dominant arm. He can't hold the axe two-handed. Yeah, I would say if he tried to do two-handed, it would be with the -4 penalty. But literally, his left arm is just hanging useless. I don't think that should impact his right arm's efficacy. Okay, so that's where it's at. So he's like, ah, and he's just like kind of howling in pain. I could do like a -2 to all of his rolls, I suppose, for the next 1d4 rounds, which is 3 rounds. All right, we'll do -2. So now we need a new initiative after that debacle, and it goes to Xander. And that includes that. He's howling in pain, so, yep, terrible failure. They're going to try to keep biting him over and over. The funny thing is they'll never actually kill him based on these rules. It's just, he might just have useless... I guess if he has no useful limbs, it's pretty bad. But they can't ever do any damage, so I'm not really sure. Maybe if you have all 4 useless limbs and you have nobody to help you, I'll count it as paralysis and you're down. But all right, there are going to be 3 more attacks, plus 2, like I said. 1, 2, 3. That's 2 hits. Jesus Christ, man. All right, so luck constitution 4 with the oracle roll. He failed again. And the other one... Success. Okay, so he gets 1 more bout of poison. Again, 1... It could be the same limb, so it's going to be the same roll. Left arm, left leg, right leg. That is going to be his left leg. So now his movement is halved. He is not loving adventuring, to say the least. Oh, God. All right, he's going to try to swing now. So he's down to a d6 on damage, and he doesn't have advantage on damage. But he does get to swing with his full... No, he's in pain. So he's got -2 on the roll. All right, he does connect, though, on 1. So he kills 1. Sazura then hops in, try to kill the other one. She does also kill another one. So there's 1 left. Yes, that will prompt a morale roll, but let's roll initiative first. We failed. It rolls morale. We'll give it 10. It fails. It's going to retreat. They're both going to swing their ops. Their fucking centipede's dead. They have an AC of 10, so yes, that is, he just decimates it. And that is the encounter. Was that a significant combat? Technically, by my own rules, no. He didn't suffer any HP damage. It was just a miserable experience all around. So they're finally going to go out the entrance. Torch is done. They're out of there. And now begins the long trek back. They move at half speed. So this is 1 mile every 2 hours to try to get back. They made excellent time getting here, so it's only like, what, like 9 or 10 a.m.? So theoretically, if they don't get lost, they'll still make it back reasonably well. I think I said 4 miles. 1, 2, let's see. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 miles. So theoretically, it'll take 8 hours to get back if she succeeds on her wilderness lore check. She did. So that's 8 hours to get back. That is going to prompt, of course, a random monster check. 1 or a 2 on a d6. Fuck me. All right. Which random table to use? I guess I lean towards axe usually. Although the reason why we don't use axe much is because it's not a d6 roll, it's a d20 roll. We could have done that. That's in the judge's book. So this would be the Borderlands. So this roll right here. So really we have like an okay chance. This is our chance here. 2 to 13 is either nothing or a civilized encounter. Now, a civilized encounter is not necessarily nothing. Because it could be bandits or brigands or berserkers or something. But yeah, otherwise 14 to 15 monster, 16 to 7 dangerous, 18 to 19 valuable terrain, 20 unique terrain. Shadow Dark, we could do forest. I mean, we already did that. It's a bit more whimsical. You know, there's a variety of things that could be, but I don't know. It's hard to say. So, all right, we'll roll on X. Yeah, I mean, technically... Yeah, technically this would be like once every hex. We're in the Borderlands and we're just traveling, so it'd be once every 6 mile hex. But yeah, I guess yeah. We're traveling, what, 4 miles, so it's close enough. So we wouldn't have rolled to see if we have an encounter the same way. We would have just rolled on this table. But all right, I'm going to roll a d20. We'll see what we get. 20. Well, it's potentially good. It's a unique terrain encounter. Which could be something quite valuable. Let's see. Unique terrain. Here it is. It's a D12. 1. So it's a complex map. We find a location that is in itself a treasure map. An example might look similar to Stonehenge. It can be difficult to decipher the map or even to learn that it is a map at all. If deciphered, it leads to a treasure. The treasure is 1 hex away per 1,000 gold piece value. You can use the average value and roll the actual contents of the treasure later. Okay. 2. So it's a treasure of 10,000 average value on L and J. That suggests then, yeah, that you're supposed to roll on both of those. Once on L and once on J. Which I think means I fucked up that gelatinous cube thing that one time. But that seemed way too valuable. But I guess we ended up getting nothing out of that gelatinous cube. Anyways. It can be difficult to decipher the map or even to learn his map at all. I wish they gave a few more examples of what it might look like. Because I feel like if I roll this, it's always just going to be sort of standing stones or Stonehenge kind of thing. Alright, we'll have Caesura roll general lore on it, shall we? Great success. So she does sort of look over the sort of runes and stuff. She's like, I think this is a treasure map, Xander. And he's just like, fuck. Fuck, I don't care. Tricky thing for running a module like this. We're probably just going to ignore this result. Very fun thing, though, if you're doing a hex scroll. Of like, yeah, it seems like this points to maybe like 50, 60 miles away. Because that would be 10 hexes away for 10,000 gold. But yeah, I mean, if you get this big thing, it's like, yeah, this is... 24 hexes away, so 24 times 6. Yeah, like, this seems to be dozens and dozens of miles from here. That's a long trip. 144 miles, traveling optimistically 12 miles per day. That's 12 days. But that's a big trip. 24,000 gold. I mean, we'd level up like twice off of that. Yeah, twice, I think. All right. Other than that, though, nothing dangerous. So we make it back to Grimsgate. Xander collapses in the inn room, which we do have to pay for, and we'll pay for some food So we'll just toss 7 gold at him. And I think we're going to long rest. We do get XP, and I suppose we did kill some centipedes and some other shit. So that's like 15 XP for the centipedes, and the cursed humans we killed 4. That's 40. So we'll just put 55 down. I don't think we killed anything else, and we definitely didn't get any other treasure. So alright, let's tally up our XP. It's definitely not level 2. I wish it was, but we haven't really discovered much of the goodies yet. Alright, divided by 2. 732 XP. Out of 2,000. All right, not super pleasant. There really, like I said, isn't a time. I don't think there's a time element to this. But usually modules like this, like a dungeon module, doesn't assume that the players are going to spend, you know, weeks just sitting in the village or something. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Like, yeah, maybe if the players are like, look, we want to spend like 6 months in the village just like having some things made from the blacksmith and blah, it's like, okay, I might have to then think about this. I think at the very least, if you do nothing else, you have to replenish the dungeon a little bit. There has to be some more mole men or cursed humans or like something. Like restock some rooms at that point. But 1 week, I don't think much is really going to... Status quo is not going to change much. Or I'm not going to bother. Like, yeah, it's sort of an advantage to the players that they can then fully recover basically everything. But that doesn't mean the game's still not lethal. Like, he could have very fucking easily died. He was damn close, you know? So, the moment-to-moment in the dungeon, like, it's still pretty dangerous. So, if you can make it back to town, you sort of earn your rest a little bit. And I don't think most groups are going to be like, oh, you took 10 damage? Alright, let's go long rest. I mean, my players are kind of like that, but yeah, I mean, I introduced time limits, and they're aware of them, so it is what it is. Alright, so long rest, long rest. We recover 1 point of luck, and then everything else, so we're back to fighting shape. Yeah, I mean, this food stuff went bad, so she cooked it at some point, and we'll just say we buy more. We'll also sell off all our treasure to whatever his stupid name is. Pantro? Yeah. So we sell off all this shit. Well, I don't think we really want to sell it, because basically we're just carrying gold around, or we're keeping the gold in the inn or something like that. So maybe I shouldn't sell it, but I don't really want to hold on to it because it takes up a slot. And we might need our slots. So I guess we're going to rent out an inn room for the next 2 weeks at least. So we have to pay for the 1 room for the week, and then we'll pay for another week. So 14 gold. I may have already deducted for that 1 night, but yeah, fuck it. So we'll keep the treasure just under the mattress or something in there. And that's where we are going to leave off for today. Didn't quite finish. I know I'm probably going to title this series Lost City of Barakus, and it's going to be like 4 videos before we get to there. I apologize, but it's, yeah, not a super quick thing. I think most groups will struggle to finish this in like a 4-hour session. All right. Good stuff. Done and done. That was damn close. I really thought we were going to lose Xander there. Yeah, charging into a group of monsters, even if they are little shitters, you know, that have 0 plus attack bonus, and they only do 1d4 damage. Being outnumbered, they get a bonus. They get 2 attacks each, and that is a lot of dice rolls. 1d4 damage can add up very quickly, and he does not have god tier AC. He doesn't even have a shield. This probably will make him reconsider being a two-handed fighter going forward. And once we hit level 2, he might pick up Protector and a shield and go up to 18 AC. Not a terrible idea, but we also don't have that much killing potential at that point. You know, she doesn't have that much magic yet or anything like that. So, we'll see. I don't really want to resort to hiring, like, a retainer or something to come with us and just shoot a bow over and over. But it also wouldn't hurt. We'll see. My name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.